When the astronomical sales and unequivocal success of Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto series were dominating the video game industry, Ubisoft, as one of the largest game publishers, decided to create a serious rival for this gaming giant. The result of this ambition was the creation of the Watch Dogs series, which entered the competitive arena with a novel idea and a hefty investment. The first installment of Watch Dogs, with its promise of a modern open world centered on hacking, garnered significant attention. With a substantial investment, reports estimated its development budget to be around $68 million. Ubisoft was clearly aiming for a title on the scale of GTA. The game sold over 4 million copies in its first week, becoming Ubisoft's best-selling new IP at the time. However, despite selling over 10 million copies in total, it was in no way comparable to GTA V's sales of over 200 million copies. Subsequent installments in the series, despite gameplay improvements and new ideas, failed to meaningfully close this gap. The sales for all three released installments of the franchise barely reached 25 million copies, despite a total investment of $200 to $300 million. Ultimately, despite massive investments and efforts to offer a different experience with its hacking mechanics, the Watch Dogs series never managed to become the powerful competitor to GTA that Ubisoft had envisioned. The series' commercial success was very limited compared to its rival, and following the disappointing performance of the latest installment, the future of the franchise is shrouded in uncertainty. Unofficial reports indicate that the series is currently on hold at Ubisoft with no clear plans for a new installment, marking an ambiguous end to a rivalry that never truly materialized.
Hi guys, I'm Sina. Welcome to another video. In this episode, we are going to review all titles of the Watch Dogs series. Please stay with me. Thank you.
Watch Dogs. Release 2014. Meta 80. Release platforms Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PC. Cost $68 million. Sell 10 million copies. Playtime, main story 19 hours, main plus extras 33 hours, completionist 62 hours. It all started in 2010 when it was announced that Ubisoft had begun working on an open world game, one set in a modern world. Jonathan Morin, a director at Ubisoft, stated that Watch Dogs was designed to go beyond today's open world games and allow players to control the entire city through hacking mechanics. The news of a modern open world game reminded everyone of the Grand Theft Auto series. This was at a time when Rockstar had released GTA 4 2 years prior in 2008 and was already developing GTA V, a game they had planned to release in 2010, 2 years before Watch Dogs. Following the game's announcement in 2010, the first official trailer was shown 2 years later at E3 2012. It was a captivating trailer with extraordinary graphics that significantly raised expectations for the game. We arrive at the game's release in 2014. Right off the bat, I have to say that Watch Dogs was by no means a bad game. The main issue stemmed from the high expectations Ubisoft had created for fans and the comparisons being made between it and GTA V. The first thing that disappointed fans was the noticeable downgrade in the game's graphics compared to the trailers. It was clear that the lighting, texture quality, and even visual effects had been significantly weakened. The core and most innovative part of the gameplay was the ability to hack the city's infrastructure through the main character Aiden Pierce's smartphone, controlling traffic lights, creating street blockades, and hacking into security systems added an engaging strategic layer to the game. However, other gameplay elements like the shooting and driving systems, while functional, weren't particularly unique and offered nothing new. The game's story followed a cliché revenge narrative set against a modern technological backdrop. The main weakness here was the characterization of Aiden Pearce himself, a one-dimensional, bland, and uncharismatic protagonist that players found difficult to connect with. As a result, despite an interesting initial concept, the story failed to leave a deep and lasting impact on the audience. Ultimately, Watch Dogs received generally positive feedback from critics. They praised the innovative hacking concept, but criticized the weak story, poor character development, and the game's failure to live up to the massive expectations it had generated. It was a good title with a great idea that faced ups and downs in its execution, proving that a single creative mechanic isn't enough to create a masterpiece. In September 2014, a DLC pack titled Bad Blood was released for the game, with its story taking place about a year after the events of Watch Dogs. This expansion was separate from the main game and featured a new story with 10 story missions, new gameplay mechanics, and side content like new weapons and vehicles. Watch Dogs 2. Release 2016. Meta 82. Release platforms PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. Cost $70 to $100 million. Sell 11 million copies. Playtime. Main story 19 hours, main plus. Extras 31 hours. Completion is 46 hours. After the release of the first game, Ubisoft's executives, who were satisfied with the series' financial performance, greenlit the creation of a sequel. Unlike the previous installment, the game was developed exclusively for 8th generation consoles, an approach that prevented the hardware limitations of the 7th generation consoles from becoming an obstacle to implementing the creators' ideas. The first and most prominent improvement in Watch Dogs 2 is evident in its graphics and art design. The game replaces the somber gray atmosphere of Chicago with a remarkably vibrant, colorful, and detailed rendition of the San Francisco Bay Area. From the bustling streets and famous hills of the city to the shores of Oakland, graffiti-adorned neighborhoods, and the beating heart of technology in Silicon Valley, everything has been recreated with extraordinary precision and artistry. Brilliant lighting, dynamic weather effects, and stunning reflections have breathed true life into this digital world. This city is not just a beautiful backdrop. It's filled with citizens engaged in their daily routines who react naturally to the player's actions, which significantly helps with immersion in the game's world. Gameplay is where Watch Dogs 2 truly displays its brilliance and represents a literal leap forward. The protagonist, Marcus Holloway, is far more agile than Aiden Pearce, smoothly navigating the city and overcoming obstacles with fluid parkour movements. The driving system has also been completely overhauled, making vehicle control much more enjoyable and realistic than in the first game. The most significant advancement, however, has occurred in the hacking system. Now, nearly every electronic device in the city is hackable, and the player can use the environment to their advantage in much more creative ways. From hacking multiple cars simultaneously to create chaos in the streets, to controlling a jumper drone and a quadcopter to infiltrate inaccessible areas, the player has complete freedom to choose their style of play. Watch Dogs 2 tells a story that is considerably more vibrant, energetic, and engaging than its predecessor. The main characters are all young, witty, and likable, and the chemistry and relationships among them are well developed. The shift in tone from a dark revenge narrative to a youth-oriented, hopeful adventure is the greatest strength of the game's story. The game was generally met with a positive reception from critics. It rectified nearly all the negative aspects of the first game and had improved upon the original in various areas such as graphics, gameplay, story, and character development. Despite being a much better game than its predecessor and receiving favorable reviews from critics, its sales fell below Ubisoft's forecasts. According to the company's reports, it took 4 years until May 2020 for the game's sales to reach the 10 million units sold by the first game.
If you enjoyed the video so far, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.
Watch Dogs Legion. Release 2020. Meta 76. Release platforms: Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC. Cost $100 to $150 million. Sell 5 million copies. Playtime: main story 18 hours, main plus extras 33 hours, completionist 49 hours. Even though the second game didn't achieve the sales figures Ubisoft had hoped for, the company decided to release a new installment, given the game's positive reviews and critical reception. The new version of the game, unlike the previous two, was set in the United Kingdom, in the city of London. Visually, it is a stunning, next-generation game. London is depicted with the utmost beauty, featuring self-driving cars, pervasive security drones, and holographic advertisements. In contrast to the grey atmosphere of Chicago in the first entry and the sunny dynamism of San Francisco in the second, London possesses a dark, rainy ambience illuminated by neon lighting. Support for ray tracing technology on new platforms creates breathtaking reflections in puddles and on glass surfaces, which aids immersion in the game world. However, despite the high technical detail, the world sometimes feels lifeless and lacks the organic vibrancy and dynamism we witnessed in the San Francisco of Watch Dogs 2. The core concept of Legion, and simultaneously its greatest strength and weakness, is the play as anyone system. In this game, you do not have a single main character. Instead, you can control nearly any citizen on the streets of London. However, this idea has come at a heavy cost. Since the characters are algorithmically generated, almost all of them lack depth, personality, and charm. Their voice acting and dialogues are often repetitive and flat, and the player cannot form the same emotional connection with these nameless operatives as they did with characters like Aiden Pierce or Marcus Holloway. Other gameplay mechanics like hacking, combat, and driving have received minor improvements over Watch Dogs 2, but no major leaps are seen in them. Ultimately, the gameplay is reduced to a repetitive cycle of choose an operator, infiltrate a base, and hack a server. The main problem with the story is directly tied to its gameplay: the lack of a central protagonist. Without a main character for the story to revolve around, the narrative feels scattered and lacks a powerful emotional core. While the stories of the first and second games were built on foundations of personal revenge and the ideological struggle of a charismatic group, respectively, Legion's story feels more like completing a list of tasks for a faceless organization which has dealt a major blow to its impact. Despite the game's superior graphics compared to its predecessor and the introduction of new gameplay elements, critical reception, unlike for the second game, was generally average. Critics pointed out bugs and glitches, repetitive missions, and a cliched story. They also deemed the multiple playable characters unnecessary, believing they made the game's story shallow. In the end, although the third installment was an entertaining title, it received the lowest scores among the 3 games and experienced lower sales than the previous 2. Although Ubisoft never officially announced the sales figures or the development budget for the third game, it is estimated that with an investment of $100 to $150 million, the game sold only around 5 million copies. If these estimates are correct, the game is considered a commercial failure, a failure that will affect the future of the series. In any case, it doesn't seem likely that we will see a new installment in this series anytime soon. And perhaps, in the words of a Twitter account active in leaking information about the gaming industry, the Watch Dogs franchise is dead and buried.
What do you think? Will there be another version of Watch Dogs series? Please comment your opinion. Goodbye.